Alright, so now we're going to talk about setting up a basic nighttime swordfish drift. For this drift, we're going to have 5 rods. We're going to have 3 buoy rods, and we're going to have 2 what we call tip rods. So let's start with the buoy rods. Remember those buoys we made with the milk jugs? Well, that's going to go on each one of the buoy rods. So buoy rod number 1. You're going to hook up the buoy to the wax thread that we made there. Let's say this one's at 100 feet. So you're going to clip the long line clip from the buoy to the 100-foot marker. After you've let your bait down, you're going to drop this buoy in the water, and you're going to drive your boat about 50 to 100 yards. Then you're going to clip buoy number 2. The whole time you're letting buoy number 1 out. You're going to clip buoy rod number 2. It's a long line clip. Let's say this one's at 200 feet. So you have your 200-foot marker. You're going to clip your long line clip to that marker, and you're going to keep driving your boat out. Keep driving your boat out. Let's say you let it out another 50 yards. So you have your first buoy's at 150 yards. Your second buoy's at 50 yards. Now you're going to put buoy number 3. You're going to clip it to the line clip. Let's say this one's at 300 feet. So your bait's 300 feet down. You clip the long line clip onto there, and you're going to drive another 50 to 100 yards. So now you have a spread. You have 3 buoys that are spread out, well away from the boat. And now you're going to work on your tip rods. So what are your tip rods? Your tip rods are literally straight down from the tip, no buoys. So you're going to want to put 1 tip rod between buoy rod number 1 and buoy rod number 2. Oh, by the way, the description that we're doing here is for a center console boat. So you have your boat drifting. So you're going to put your tip rod between buoy rod number 1 and number 2, and you're going to let it down. A lot of people let their tip rods down a little bit deeper. But let's just say for tip rod number 1, a lot of swordfish hits happen at the 100, 150 foot mark. It just happens, and it depends on the moon phase, and we can talk about that later in the sword fishing science section. So let's say tip rod number 1 goes down to 150 feet. Now we take tip rod number 2, and we're going to send it way deep because we already have all these parts of the water column covered. So let's say we're going to put tip rod number 2. It's between buoy number 2 and buoy number 3, and this is just to prevent tangles. So let it down 400 feet, and there you have a great basic swordfish drift setup. You have your baits well spread apart. You're not going to get tangled, and now it's time to get down to business. How do we find a bite?